Hello, thank you very much for tuning in to this section of reads. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. I am currently doing in-person readings in Herkimer, New York. If you're interested, shoot me an email. I'll give you more details. I'm going to use the information like the decks and dice. I'm going to put that all below. Otherwise, you should be seeing this on YouTube channel James13 Wicca, so I don't forget that. If you're not, let me know. And the last thing is, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for tuning in this time, and let's go ahead and get into your reading. Hello, Gemini. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Gemini? Okay. I mean, you're Gemini. I see like there's such a hot cold feeling, but it's all within you is what I'm getting. Very hot cold. Hot, cold, hot, cold. Like, this could be awesome, this could be horrible. Like, it feels like that. It's very hot, cold. Very, very hot, cold. So, you're addressing somebody else's... Something about another person. I feel like it's literally a person. Could be situational. Is it their viewpoints on you? The Devil. The Four of Wands. I feel like it's about how you're being perceived. This seems to be the stepping stone. There was a point where this had a lot of positive energy. This was really good at one point. It seems like it's a past energy. You got the Lover's card, which is also your card. So I feel like there is a point in the past. Might not have been the beginning of this situation. Could have been, but doesn't have to be. But there was a moment where I feel like it just all felt like it was right. It felt like this is how this should be. It all felt good. Are you getting more? Okay. This card is here. So the current energy is like, I don't feel like that's where I currently am with this. I don't know that it's, I'm not seeing the Tower card, but it's kind of like, is it just kind of all the hints, all the extra information just kind of came in and just kind of all of a sudden just kind of clicked into place, like, oh my God. Like, oh my God, this is what's happening, or oh my God, I thought this was, at one point this was great, and now it doesn't feel like it at all right now. It's like a complete 180. And I feel like I don't really know if there's much I can do about it. I'm questioning that. What is going on here for it? It's starting off very confusing in my opinion, because I'm questioning the Devil card again. Whatever you're dealing with, it does not seem to be open or listening. It doesn't seem to be really listening to you, and I feel like maybe that's a big piece of it. It's like no matter what I say, it's almost like I say a sentence of like, you know, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Is that how that goes? And they're saying, yep, and you're telling me you're allergic to peppers and you hate them. And then Peter, well, apparently you and him hate each other. And it's kind of like, I never said that. Never said any of that. They're like, yes, you did. You said this, this, and that. And like, I said those words, but no, that's not what I said. And I feel like they keep saying, nope, this is what you said. And like, I said those words, not in that combination. I didn't use those words to say what you're saying I said, even though those words came out my mouth, but not in that. And they're like, yes, they did. See, you just admitted they came out of your mouth. Yes, but not like that. I never said I didn't like Peter. I never said I was allergic to peppers. I never said that stuff. You're adding extra words and creating a whole different meaning. and they're just not listening. This is changing things. This is very much changing things in this situation. It's hard. I feel like this is heavy at this point. The Devil card came out twice on the dice. You got this Three of Swords here. This is either happening or it's not. I feel very blocked. And the Five of Pentacles at the bottom here is kind of like, I feel very blocked with this situation. I don't know what to do with it. But then they're giving this embrace enthusiasm. Embrace enthusiasm. So I'm going to use the dice on this because I feel like this is not an easy moment for those of you this is hitting with. And I just embrace enthusiasm. Like, it seems like a lot. You're a Gemini. You can see the possibilities here. You can find what's good here. If you decide to look at it, you could find your advantage. You're Gemini. You see all these angles, all these different possibilities. It's stepping back. And part of this might be like, if you saw this playing out for somebody else, what advantages would you see for somebody else? Because this is bringing in a whole new shift. The information is the information. The truth is the truth. It's kind of like you have a cake on the table. You can find 1,000,001 things to do with it. You can put it in the freezer. You could give it away. You could put it in the mailbox if you wanted to. You could take it, enjoy it with somebody else. You could have people come over and enjoy it with you. There's so many. You could sell it. There's so many different ways there's so many different things you could do with this cake, right? But it's a cake. The cake is there. The cake is not, it's not a pot roast, it's a cake. So they're saying you have a lot of abilities here. You have a lot of possibilities. In this moment of the situation, I feel like they're kind of saying you're coming up to this wall and you see it coming. Before you get to the wall, address what's going on and start lining up the possibilities you might need to choose. The world's coming in, a whole new phase is coming in. It's about you taking care of you and remembering that, like, if people don't have your best interests at hand, if people don't want to do things to your benefit, don't worry about looking out for them if they're not going to look out for you. I don't know how that sounds coming out of my mouth, but it's kind of like there needs to be a balance here. Those who are good to you, you're good to them. If people are not being nice to you, you don't need to be nice to them either. I would be careful not to go down the, like, you know, they were negative to me, therefore I will be negative to them. I'm not saying you should go that route. But, like, for example, if you're packing for a lunch and you're going to go on a day trip and they don't care whether you eat or not, let them fend for themselves. Don't get in their way. Center on what you need. Center on what's going to make your trip good. Don't worry about what they're going to do for themselves if they're going to have lunch or whatever they're going to do. They don't want to look out for you. Don't look out for them. Don't get in their way. I don't feel like that's going to serve you. But on the same token, like, if you're going to get some extra meat, and you're like, normally I would get some extra for them to make sure that they had some stuff. Don't do that. If they don't care whether you eat or not, don't worry about whether they eat or not. For whatever it is. Take it with a grain of salt. Because they seem to be very caught up on being very unhappy with you. They got the Four of Cups here, and they're not willing to let it go. You're not I don't feel like you're a bad person. The energies I'm connecting for Gemini, you're not a bad person. You don't deserve to be treated poorly. But they keep centering on what they don't like. What they don't like, what's not working, what's not right, what's this, what's that. They're not willing to look at your benefits and how you have helped them. They're just not willing to look at it that way. This is causing a wall. I'm seeing it's the impasse, but that wall in the background, that wall is there. When I get this Chariot card coming in with this wall, you're going to hit this moment where there's a wall. Impasse. You can't get past it. It's just where it is. Not going to go any farther. The Chariot is motion, in my opinion, but it's about loyalty. And the question is your loyalty strongest to you? I very much believe if you're not loyal to yourself, your boundaries, what you need in life, what you will and will not stand for, if you're not loyal to that, which would be you, you're going to fail. You're going to fail at whatever else you do, because you got to be loyal to yourself before you can be successful with loyalty to anything else. That's my opinion. Take it, leave it, whatever you got to do with it. There is going to be this moment where you're going to be very unhappy. Where that unhappiness goes is subjective. But I keep getting that whatever you're dealing with, they've already made up their mind way before you got to this wall that they're not really interested in what goes on with you anymore. I feel if this reading is hitting, take it with a grain of salt. Readings are for entertainment purposes only. You know how that goes. They feel like they've hit the end of the line. Like, whatever they wanted from this connection, whatever they thought they were going to get from it, it's already done. They have, in their mind, they have finished the story and put it on the shelf. The Gemini story is done and over, on the shelf. They're done. Especially with the two of these coming together, I feel like they know what they've been working towards, and they're pretty much there with the destination card here. It's pretty much the two of them coming together. Maybe it's not right now that they're going to dismount from this connection, but that's what they're looking towards. You have opposite energies here. You have a choice here. One is the Hierophant, not the Hierophant, this is the Emperor. Can be a very brutal card. Can be a very active card. It's not a negative card in my opinion, but they're saying one of the downsides of this energy is like people knowing what you're going to do and how to get in your way. If you have the strength to burst through it and fight through it, and you want to do that fight the whole way to the end, you can do that. But I feel like if you choose this brutal truth direction, this truth will win direction, you're going to fight the whole way through this situation until you get to the other side. I feel like you're also going to be very exposed because I feel like it's going to become very apparent with what you want. It reminds me of saying, for example, maybe, just for argument's sake, maybe it's a divorce, and you're putting right out there that the house should be mine and this is why. Once they realize that's what you want, they'll leverage that against you every which way they can to get what they want. This is the very bold, the very out there, the very, why can't we just be honest? If we're all honest, this should work out. I'm also going to throw in here, you can't win an honorable fight with a dishonorable person, so keep that in mind. The other possibility here, this is ironic because it's also about truth. But this is also working the truth to your advantage. Knowing, okay, if I let them know I want the house, I know they're gonna angle that to their benefit, and they're gonna try to manipulate me and use it against me as much as possible to get everything. Like they might be like, oh, you can have the house if I can have everything in it. And it's kind of like, no, I'm not going to give you everything in the house. Some of this stuff I came into this situation with, and I'm going to keep my stuff. Nope, if you want the house, I get everything. I get everything in it, and you can keep the actual house itself. It's kind of like, wait a minute. How much is this house? Like, I don't want to empower them. I don't want to empower them to use that against me. This energy is aware of that and is very diplomatic. We have to get to the honest. We got to get to the truth. We got to get to the place where that's fair for both of us. And if I empower them to use the truth against me, that's not going to work to my advantage. It's kind of like, it's getting to the truth, it's getting to what's fair, but it's making sure that you're at the advantage when it comes to that. That you're in control of that when it comes to that. This is why I said these are opposite energies. They're both very much about the truth and working out things to what's fair, ironically, but this way is very brutal and can be a very hard road. This way is very diplomatic and can be a very labor intensive road. This one is more compatible with you. This sometimes talks about Aries, this sometimes talks about Libra. They're both compatible with Gemini, but this is more of an intellectual energy, and you can work this out to your advantage in a way that's much more comfortable. This one is more comfortable. The other one seems more brutal. And by using your comfort level and you saying what you need to say or bringing forward what you need to bring forward, I did have a conversation with a Gemini once where they say, when you get me talking, I end up letting the cat out of the bag before I knew it. Okay, I can understand that. If that is a downfall for you, doesn't mean that has to be. But if it is, you can decide when you will and won't engage in conversations with certain situations. I remember that same person said they learned the hard way that, sometimes they had to let their legal counsel talk for them, even though they wanted to say stuff and they were allowed to. If they let the legal counsel talk for them, it was already decided what will and will not be decided, and they didn't have to manage it. They didn't have to worry about, I got to make sure I say enough but not too much. They didn't have to worry about it. So there might be something like that where you put a disconnect, and maybe you have a middle person work it out for you. It could be something like that. Could also be something where if you're texting somebody, maybe you have somebody read your texts before you send them, or I'm a person that, if it's a heated conversation, I'm going to bring down the urgency of that. I'm not going to respond right away. And if I can get away with a day, I will use that to my advantage, and I'll think about what do I want to say, and then I'll look back at it later, and I'm like, is this working to my advantage or against me? It could be stuff like that. It's stepping into your power and having that intellectual advantage to get where you need to go and not letting the other energy manipulate it against you. I keep getting the same thing with the, you can't win an honorable fight with a dishonorable person. It doesn't have to mean that this other person is a bad person, but they may be exhibiting bad behavior and feel self-validated for it for whatever reason. So it doesn't have to mean they're a bad person, but they might be exhibiting bad behavior. And if they're embracing that bad behavior, that means they're not honorable in the moment. So that might be where we're going with that too. So we're not trying to label people good, bad. We're just trying to say there might be some bad behavior. You don't want to play in or give somebody advantage that's willing to use bad behavior. At some point, this situation's just going to go and it's going to snap forward and it's going to keep moving and moving and moving and moving. It's all about having what's going on to your advantage. Whatever you're dealing with, at some point, it's going to want to move faster. It's going to want to get things done, and it's going to want what it wants. If it doesn't know what you want, it seems like things just work out fairly well to your benefit. If it doesn't know what you want. If it does know what you want, I feel like it pushes things forward quickly, but for some reason it does win out. I don't know what to say about that. Because I feel like there's a lot of pressure, and it gets to be very stressful dealing with this, and I get to the point where I just want it to finish. And if they know what you want, they seem to be able to manipulate it quite well. I don't know what to say about that. But if they don't, it just seems like they're just like, what do I need to do to get out of this situation? And more opportunities come your way, and you will be able to balance it in your favor. Is there something I'm missing with this? Anything I should be saying with that? I keep getting also, it doesn't have to mean this person's a bad person, but they might be exhibiting bad behavior. And I keep getting the analogy of when people are breaking up, it doesn't have to be a romantic thing for you, but when people are going their own ways and somebody feels very angry about it, or for some reason they just feel like they can be a bad person and it's all is fair and love and war, or whatever that crap is, you may be surprised at how negative they become. You just don't want to be at a disadvantage if somebody chooses that path. If they choose that path and they end up in a disadvantage, well, they got what they deserved. I'm just saying. It's going to be a difficult road. Time will pass after this is over. And there's something about not letting this hold you down after this is all over and time has passed. Because I feel like you might end up getting caught up in your head with thoughts about this situation when it's all said and done. I don't know if you have somebody you can trust to talk this out with, or a therapist, or I'm a Paul McKenna fan, I use Paul McKenna books. Be aware of negative self-talk you might use on yourself that might have started with somebody else. It's almost like somebody throwing an insult your way years ago, and then for some reason later on in life it's kind of like, oh, I screwed that up, I am stupid. Like somebody calls you stupid when you're young, and then something happens and you make a blunder like normal people do, and then for some reason that tape kicks in or that recording kicks in, and then you start believing something. Be aware of that after this situation has worked out, because they're saying after this whole thing is passed and gone by, there will be a residual pain that's left over. Hopefully you recognize it and then deconstruct it and don't let it become a part of your personality where you believe negative things that people threw at you just because they wanted to make you feel bad. Because if you're not careful, I almost feel like after this is all past, it's kind of like when I look back on it, I feel like I feel bad for things that I shouldn't be feeling bad for. And it's like either through therapy, through talking with somebody else, through self-audit things, or like I use Paul McKenna stuff. He's a British author. Any of those books look interesting, just go for it, where I have to like step back, look at a situation for what it really was, and then pull out the energy, deconstruct it, bring it down. Kind of like, yeah, they said that, and you know what? I did feel that in the moment, but I feel like if I look at this at a different angle, I wasn't that. They were just seeing my insecurity and they were arming it against me. And I need to pull that energy down. I need to smooth it out, and I need to realize that that's not true. They just found an opportunity to make me feel bad, and I need to kind of like, no, that's not the truth. That was a moment in time. That is not who I am, and I'm not letting that hold into my personality and shape who I am or how I'm going to handle things going forward. So that's a little add-on to the end. Like, realize after this passes, there will be some emotional upset that needs to be kind of worked out in order to not have it hold you down the road. Are we good? All right, I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.